Hey, what's up, players? Calypso from Summoner's War here, and I have a special guest with me today. Why don't you go ahead and say your in-game name, and I'll pull up your account right here.
AGC Sky, used to be Skywalker JX, and I'm in a guild with Salip over here.
Let's see, where's his account over here?
Gotta find it, man.
Here we go. AGC's very own Sky. He's got a pretty pro account right here, especially this Chow.
Oh, it's my favorite.
That is his dream monster.
Look at him, he's just so beautiful, man.
I know, right? That 100% crit rate and 100% resist. We're about to look at some Nuckin' Futz runes, guys. We're about to look at some Nuckin' Futz runes. Resist and speed sub on this one. 20% axe sub. Dang. 13 crit rate. 19% HP. Dang. Wow, I thought he would be tankier, but it seems like he does just fine with just 1 HP rune.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of people rune Chow Violent Blade, just to really set off his passive skill. But the main focus of resist and crit rate, I think, is really great, especially in dungeon runs when I'm going up in dragons, because having that 100% resist is, very useful to not get that continuous damage on me when I go up against your dragon. So it's very helpful. And like with the energy runes on him, 2 energy rune sets, I mean, his HP is just as good. So
if I have a Dragons B10 team, by the way, Auto Dragons B10 team. So if I were to substitute my Lumricia for your Chow on Dragons B10, you think it'll do fine?
What's the rest of your Dragons B10 team?
I have Dark Ifrit, Cheat Soon, Belladon, and Megan.
I think you should be fine. Yeah.
Okay.
Because Chow will be your tank, just like Lumericia is your tank, and Chow heals every turn, which kind of replaces how Lumericia can heal like full of HP with her skill. And your Lumericia has high resist. So the key to beating Dragons B10 is to have like a water monster that can heal and have really high resistance. Since the dragon is a fire monster, you have that chance of landing a glancing hit on you. So I think it would be just an equal replacement. And you have Dark Ifrit, so like I don't have a Dark Ifrit on my Dragons B10 team. So the fact that you can remove continuous damage every turn is very useful, because when I borrow friends or use friends Dark Ifrits, like I always have like 100% clear rate using it. So
cool.
I'm sure it would do just as fine.
Okay, maybe we'll do another video of that. But today's video, we're going to talk about there was a request made on my video that I did about the top tier natural 4-star PvP mons. So we're going to go through the list of various elements natural 4-star PvE mons now. So just going through the fire monsters, starting with the fire monsters. And Sky, if you see any, feel free to point them out. But right here, these three definitely stand out. Yeah, they're all concentrated right here. Like, I'm sure Com2Us released these monsters at once, and they were like, all of our monsters suck so far. So let's just have these 4 really good monsters right next to each other.
And it's funny that they're all fire monsters, because if you go to the water monster list, those 3 are right next to each other, but they all suck. You got Water Vamp, which pretty much sucks. And then you have Water Rakshasa, which is okay, but but you can't really compare her to Hua. And then you have Rena, which is like the most awful monster in this game. For those of you who really like Rena, that's great, but I personally don't like her because she just annoys the hell out of me.
Yep. She's good for 5-mon, but that's pretty much it. That's about where her utility stops for PvE. But yeah, these 4 definitely. Vertihile, great for PvE. You can use him for Dragons B10. I've seen Dragons B10 teams.
He's on mine.
Nice. Yeah. Lead?
No, I put Chow as lead, but I use him for like all the other dungeons. Okay. So if I'm doing like any elemental dungeon run or even Dragons B9, I have him on lead sometimes. So very useful.
Okay, nice. Yep. Dragons B10. Same with Chloe. You can put her on Dragons B10 if you want.
She's on mine too.
Nice. Yeah, so she probably replaces Veromos Dark Ifrit for your team because she's got immunity, so protects you from damage, continuous damage for a bit.
Yeah, for the most part. I mean, her survival rate's pretty good. I mean, she can get up until the final like boss where the dragon is, and then like most of the time she dies out. But as long as she gets to that final boss, like as long as she's there to put that initial shield and immunity up, it's pretty much a clear.
Nice.
Chow usually clears it up for me at the very end.
Okay, cool. Yep, Chloe, Dragon's B10 monster right there, and Hua, Dragon's B10 monster right there. Yep.
Just almost every level, every dungeon, she's very useful.
Yeah.
So
she was actually my first good natural 4-star fire monster that I got from a scroll.
Yeah, you were having trouble getting fire mons for a while.
Yeah.
I remember.
Yeah, and my very first monster was actually Fire Barbaric King, my first natural 4-star fire monster. My second one was her right here. I ended up feeding exactly.
Fantastic.
I ended up feeding both of them, and then I got Hua, and I actually kept her. And what do you think about Arnold in dungeons? I feel like he's borderline. I wanted to include him in top tier, but I feel like he's borderline.
I don't know. I mean, I think he's great since most people build him super tanky, but he doesn't, like, all of his attacks are for single units. And I usually like having a person on my team that either benefits the rest of the team or has an AoE attack.
Well, he has an AoE attack break right here that
true.
You can maybe utilize with Despair Runes, but even then, I feel like it's underutilized.
I mean, I only really see him in PvP. So and he's always Rune Despair. So I don't know. I don't know who he would really replace in a Dungeons team, especially when you're running Dragons and Giants. I mean, you can't run him on a Giants B10 team because he's just going to get owned.
Right.
And in Dragons, like you would, there's so many other monsters who have a better utility that can perform better with the rest of the team over him.
Yeah.
That I don't think he would be useful.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree. Those are similar to my thoughts exactly. That there are so many other monsters that do better than him. So I would say he's borderline. So far we've got Fire Vampire, Chloe, and Hua, and there's actually one other monster that's really good for PvE here, and that's Beretta. He's really good for PvE, especially Tower of Ascension. And I've even seen him on a Dragons B10 team, actually.
Interesting.
As a lead. Yeah, attack speed. So it makes your team faster. And his, let's see here, not Turbulence.
That Phoenix Freeze,
yeah. Great continuous damage for AoE continuous damage. So when you're on the Crystal stage, that's 3 turns times 2, right? Because when you awaken him, he gets 2 continuous damages each monster. So that's 6 continuous damage stacks per monster over 3 turns.
Possibility to stun because most people rune him Despair. So
yeah, exactly. So he's actually really good for PvE, and it helps that he's fusible. So he's essentially farmable. So we've got 4 top tier PvE monsters in Fire. Any others that stand out?
Yeah, I mean, June. Maybe not for like high level dungeon runs, but if you're also like quick farmer, I mean, he has 2 AoE skills with the release of the Sky of the Wolf Dance. I don't know what it is. Yes, Sword of the Supreme Sky Wolf. I mean, his 3rd skill is already an AoE, and then his 4th skill is an AoE as well. So if he's runed correctly, I mean, he can run through quick dungeon runs if you're trying to farm mana or like level up monsters very quickly. He could be pretty useful too. So
okay.
All depends on what you're trying to use him for.
Okay. So I would actually put him pretty close to Arnold in that case as a borderline monster, because my only concern is that he's a little squishy, and that's pretty much it actually. So other than that, it seems like he's got great AoEs that you can use with Despair Runes. So he could help out in dungeon runs for sure. Probably TOA, definitely.
Yeah.
So those are the top tier fire monsters, with a couple borderline monsters, Arnold and June. That's June, right? Not Kaz?
That's June. Kaz is the water one.
Okay. Yeah, so Arnold and June being borderline, and then Beretta, Chloe, Hua, and Vertihile being the top tier monsters. So on the water front, we have, let's see here.
Water Vampire, the best monster in the game.
Water Vampire. Oh gosh, if only. One definitely stands out, Lumericia. Oh man.
Especially yours, man. I think you're the one who pioneered it.
Yeah, I don't like to
toot your own horn.
Yeah, I don't really like to toot my own horn, but to be honest, I was like one of the very early level 35s with a well-built Lumericia in Channel 1, and I was getting like requests from level 40s and whatnot to be able to use her. And that was when I really started making level 40 friends. Of course, I ended up deleting all of them and replacing them with people that I actually knew. But Lumericia was a big part of me getting level 40 friends. And
I mean, she's great. I mean, we can review her skills, and I'm sure everyone already knows her skills because I've seen a massive increase of people with Lumericia rep monsters pretty recently.
Yeah,
having them on, as part of their monster list. But
Yep.
she's great. I mean, I've used her too. I've actually used her coupled with Chow just for I needed the to complete the dailies. But like, she's fun to use.
Yeah.
I mean, continuous damage dealer, second skill. Can increase the cool time, great with giants, and that third skill is great.
Yep. And she's actually on my troll defense whenever I want to troll lower level players.
For what, glory farming?
Yeah, pretty much. Because oftentimes lower level players look at a level 40 monster on defense, and that's the only monster on defense, and then they want to attack, and then they realize she actually heals 100% of her own HP.
And I think what those noobs are trying to accomplish is they're like, oh, it's a Lumericia, it probably will be squishy, but I mean, if you really know how to build her, which is tanky, great, high defense.
Yep.
She already has a naturally high resist with her leader skill. I mean, you're not really going to land much on her. No continuous damage, no debuffs essentially, and high defense. Like, you're not going to do any damage, and if you do any damage on her, she can just heal herself all the way back.
Yep.
And so it's either A, she kills all your monsters over continuous damage, takes a while, or B, you rage quit because you can't beat her. And I'm pretty sure the rage quitting occurs more often than not.
Yeah, I think YDCB actually rage quit in one of his videos because the defense was too impossible to beat. But just to give you an idea of her stats, she's actually support, right? So we're not really sure how good her HP and defense and whatnot base stats are. But let's compare her to Dark Ifrit. Dark Ifrit is an HP monster, right? Her base HP is about almost 13k, and Dark Ifrit falls short by about 2.5k at least, 3.5k actually. So she's really tanky. Her base HP is really high. Same with her defense. You compare her and Verid, and their defenses are only about 100 points apart, 120 at most. And Verid is a defense monster. I mean, he is a defense monster, and he's a natural 5-star. So that's why she's so good, and that's why she's definitely by far on the top tier list. She can solo giants. She can solo the boss stage of dragons, even with the 2 towers remaining if you get lucky. With the right runes, she can be a real force to be reckoned with.
Definitely build her with high resist if you're going up against dragons and you're trying to solo her. Solo the dragon and B10. You need high resist in order for her to survive.
Yeah, at least 67%. Let's see, who else? Yeah, I feel like water usually gets ignored in terms of good monsters. You've used Water Undine, right?
I have.
What are your thoughts on her for PvE?
I think that she can be pretty good, but the one I have isn't ruined very well, so I don't really know her full potential, but I ruined her with a high crit rate because I really wanted to utilize her first awakened skill, which is if it lands as a crit rate, it will freeze the monster. So high crit rate, good accuracy substats. She's really good for crowd controlling in dungeons, and also her third skill can revive, which is useful as well. And I've seen a lot of people use her in their Dragons B10 team. And so like the reviving really helps because no one really targets her since she's a water monster. So if one of your main monsters die, I mean, you have a reviver right there with no one really targeting her in any way.
Right.
And if you rune her correctly, some people rune her violent. I mean, she can freeze someone her first turn, and then second turn she can revive, or vice versa. So she can be pretty versatile with her usage.
Yeah, that was the other monster I was thinking, because like you said, I've seen her on Dragon's B10 teams, and that's why I wanted to put her, at least mention her. So I would say maybe she's borderline top tier, maybe not quite top tier, but definitely borderline. There's Lure. I would say he's also kind of borderline because he does have, mostly because he's squishy. Same with Tyrone. With PvE, you really need kind of tanky monsters because the dungeon bosses are just so ridiculous. Tyrone, I would also include him as being, borderline. Even though I've seen him used a lot in Tower of Ascension, I would still include him as borderline just because he's kind of squishy. But yeah, other than that pretty much covers all of the water monsters. There aren't too many, really.
Well, there's one monster I want to look at really quick and make a comment, and it's Water Sky Dancer.
Water Sky Dancer. Let's see.
Right there. Her awakened form, I can't... Oh, man, what is it?
Miang, I think.
Miang? Is it? I have her, too, but sometimes it's just not easy to pronounce and say.
Miang.
Yeah. So I use her sometimes. She's only 5-star maxed, but I use her once in a while because she's great when I team her up with Chloe. Since Chloe's a lot faster than her, Chloe will go first, and then her third skill, Dance of Mirage, it not only recovers your allies with HP, but it extends the time of beneficial effects by an extra turn. So the great combo is Chloe goes first, uses her her shield and gives immunity to everyone, and then she goes and she extends it all by an extra turn. So you got 2 turns of invincibility with the shield and then 3 turns of immunity.
That's a really good combo. Now if we added Michelle in there and had her block flow, Michelle, by the way, being the awakened wind Epicyon priest, her block flow also increases the time of beneficial effects. So if we had, and she's easy to farm. Have you tried this? Maybe
I have not with Michelle. No.
Okay.
Maybe not because she was wind, and since B10 is fire, it didn't really make sense for me to do that. But
maybe for TOA, since that gives you elemental equilibrium with Chloe being fire, Miang being water, and Michelle being wind. So that's core elements right there for support. Just a thought experiment, might be worth trying out. Cool. Yeah. So thanks for pointing her out, because I've definitely used her as a rep for running Faimon, and she's really good at Faimon too. So maybe she can also be borderline. I've used Soha, but she's squishy too. So that's why she, and she's actually frankly too squishy to even make it up to borderline.
I use Kaz in my Dragon's B10 team.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, he's 6-starred, maxed, skills fully maxed. Pretty great runes on him. I rune him Violent Focus. I think it's attack %, crit damage attack %, and so he's really strong.
Okay.
So I use him as a one-shotter. If I'm targeting a crystal specifically, I'll use his first skill to try and get a defense debuff, and then if it lands and he gets to go again with a violent proc, I can follow up with one of his next 2 moves, and it's usually a kill. So
nice.
He's really, really useful, and his third skill reduces the attack bar too. Yeah, he's pretty useful. He's squishy too, and dies at the boss, but he can get me up to the boss, and Chow will finish the rest, which is why I think he can be useful, but runed correctly.
Right. Cool. So just an overview. Lumericia definitely comes out to be the clear winner here, with borderline top tier monsters being Mykeen,
Miang, possibly.
Yeah, Miang. Yeah. And that's pretty much it. Well, I've heard good things about Galleon, actually.
On PvE?
For both, really, but mostly PvP. I've heard good things about him, mostly because of his defense breaks. Yeah, really, defense breaks. He's got 2 skills with defense breaks, and 1 for attack bar.
But that third skill is great. defense break and attack power increase. I mean, that's just like, what do you quadruple your your damage with that one move?
Pretty much.
Yeah.
So this might bring him onto borderline at least, just because of his skills. I really haven't tested him out in PvE extensively enough, but just because of his skills and his high base speed, I mean, a 108 speed, you don't see that very often. So that could bring him up to borderline.
Do we know anyone that has him? I don't have anyone that has him as a rep, so
yeah, I don't know of anyone that has him actually.
Yeah, so I can't even test him out.
Yeah, so possibly borderline pirate captain, but other than that, we've got Mike Keen, and that's pretty much it. And maybe Lure and Tyrone as well as borderline.
We're forgetting one important monster here.
Who's that?
Water Lich.
Oh, yeah.
Water Lich was my first natural 4-star, and I used to think he was amazing.
I remember that.
And I remember when I was like, and Slip was like, yeah, he's kind of okay, and then I got to the realization that he sucks. So disregard that. He's actually like one of the worst 4-stars.
It's funny because I feel like I had a lot of friends like that when I was starting out. I had a friend who thought Water Kung Fu Girl was really amazing. She built her up to like 5 stars, and then she eventually fed her. I used to think Lucia was really good. Actually, I built her up all the way to 5 stars, and then I ended up feeding her. But that's okay. I feel like we've all had those moments.
On to Wind.
Wind has quite a few good ones, actually. We've got Wind Undine. She's up there for sure.
Very good.
She's got...
That third skill just makes it amazing.
Immunity for Giant Speed 10 is really helpful.
Mind Shock's pretty useful too against Giant Speed 10.
Yep.
So... And
I think Awakened, her first skill also gains some type of added benefit, right?
Speed reduction.
Okay. That's it. So Delphois is really good. And then we've got... Ooh.
Yes. Oh, yes. Acasis. Can't say enough good things about her.
Yep. She's
incredible.
Great leader for Giants B10.
Yes.
Great support overall.
Just amazing. And for those of you who are lucky enough to get her in the November 2014 HOH, everyone has her and uses her, and it's for a good reason. Her first skill, fully maxed out. If you have her with good axe substats, I mean, that's your continuous damage dealer right there for B10 Giants. Second one, I mean, most people rune or despair, so that it's an AoE, and it helps for maybe stunning some people and also healing a little bit. But I think her third skill is what makes her the best. Reduced crit rate and a shield.
Yep.
I mean, that's... What more can you ask for, especially in Giants, because you're gonna get owned regardless. If you don't have her, like you're either the rest of your team has to be like super tanky, or you have to have a really great healer.
And just to top it all off, that leader skill is really helpful.
Yes.
So that's Acasis. And oh man, we've got so many good monsters here. Lucian, come on, man. Wind is too overpowered with this. We don't need to talk about Lucian because everyone knows Lucian. AoE, defense break.
It makes me wonder when Comtuous made him and made the Jokers in general. They're like, does Wind seem too overpowered? Is his third skill like the best in the game? Should we release this? And someone who probably made it was just like, yeah, why not?
It's fine. It'll be fine. And they had to nerf him heavily, I'm sure. I'm sure they've nerfed him so many times already.
I wonder when they first released him, what his skills were. I mean, his third skill is already like one of the best in the game. What was it before? Causes defense de-break at the same time.
I know, right? That would be nuts. Then we've got Orochi, naturally. Great. In my opinion, he's probably the best leader that you can have for Giants B10. Because you're probably going to have a win team anyways with Shannon, Bernard, and Belladion. So with his leader skill, attack speed of all wind monsters by 30%, your Shannon's going to become faster, your Bernard's going to become faster, and just a crap ton of continuous damage from Stormgale. The Giant's going to suffer from it. You can take out his towers in like 2 turns with the help of this and maybe a defense break from Belladon, 2 turns per tower. And naturally, there's continuous damage with every attack and an attack bar reduction with the second skill. So he's a great monster, amazing leader for Giants B10. And we've got Wind Vampire.
Great fusion food.
Yeah, fusion food. He doesn't count. He actually sucks. I actually had him as my first vampire. That was the first vampire I got, and I ended up feeding him because he sucked. And I kind of regret that now because he definitely would have made good fusion food.
That's it.
That's pretty much it. And we have Chitsu.
Yeah, well, we don't really have to say much about her. Everyone knows how good she is.
Well, I feel like we might have to mention a few things just because she's a newer monster than Lucian. She came out pretty recently, but just a couple highlights. She doesn't have a great leader skill, but she is a healer that can really replace Amon for Giants B10 and do even better than him because she has an attack buff and she's got the potential to heal her own HP or someone else's HP fully with this. And not to mention, there's a small chance that she causes the giant to miss. So in case you don't bring Shannon or Shannon dies, you can still cause the giant to miss his attacks because of her first skill.
And I think it's important to point out, and this is my opinion, in order for her to really perform well on a team, she has to be ruined violent.
And her cooltime isn't that long either. I mean, you can get this cooltime down to 3 turns if you max it out. And so you literally have an AoE heal that's 20% of her max HP, which increases to 25 once you max it out. You can get her HP as high as like 30k. That's how high I have mine. So every 3 turns, you're healing everyone for about 8k right there. And that's a really good healer right there from just one skill.
I don't have her. I wish I did.
Yeah, I'm sure you'll get her soon. May RNGesus' blessings be upon you. I've heard good things about her. I feel like she is borderline though, because her shield, she casts a shield that lasts for 3 turns, proportionate to the monster's level.
Again, it's all single units.
Yeah. So she might be borderline because
she's support, and like when I see support, I want something to benefit the whole team.
That's true. Yeah, that's a good point. So yeah, I don't even know if she would make borderline. I just wanted to check her out to see if the new monster that she is could be beneficial.
Another monster that we can point out, if you scroll up a little bit, you go to Julian.
Okay.
Maybe not the best for like high level dungeon runs like your Giants B10 or Dragons, but really great for farming. If you rune him, I mean, I think he has one of the highest base attacks in the game, 6-star max, and that's why he's really good. And so if you don't go the crowd control route where you try to go for stuns and rune him Despair, if you rune him Fatal, I think a lot of people do Fatal with him, and you really focus on just his attack, I mean, you can run through dungeons very quickly if you're trying to farm mana, just farm EXP. Like, he's up there with Lucian, in my opinion.
Okay.
When runed correctly.
Yeah.
So
I've definitely heard that about him, that he's not only got the highest, if not the highest, one of the highest base attacks in the game when it comes to wind monsters. I think, actually, among Nat 4s, he has the highest attack in the game, because Teshar, Wind Phoenix, is the highest by far. But yeah, he's got an AoE, he's got a single target attack, so for clearing dungeons, he can be real helpful. So he can definitely, he easily makes it to the borderline tier. Another monster I was thinking about, but this applies more for PvP, is but also a little bit of buff for PvE. This is like what's the
Seek.
Fire Hellhound? Yeah, Seek. Mm-hmm. Yep, this is like Seek pretty much. So that's a good buff for everyone and removes beneficial effects of enemies. So maybe this can be helpful for like giants.
TOA.
Yeah, TOA. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So he could also make borderline, because this also gives him a 30% chance to go again. So he's got good skills overall.
Room Despair.
Mm-hmm.
I think.
Yeah, Despair would work well on him. Violent also works well on him. So yeah, Julian and Wind Brownie make it to top tier. Just a quick overview, borderline. Wind Brownie and Julian make it to borderline. So, just a quick overview. Top tier, we've got Windendine / that's
Delfoy.
Delfoy. That's
Delfoy.
it. Delfoy or Delfoy. I don't know. If you speak French,
If you speak French, yeah.
Delfoy. And then we've got Acasis. We've got Lucian, Orochi, and I almost forgot. Brienne.
Yeah, okay. I was looking at him too. Yeah.
Yep, Brienne is definitely top tier for PvE.
So annoying.
Yep, he's really annoying, especially for the giant. Like, can you imagine how many times the giant must get owned every day with a Brienne on the team? So he's really good for Giants B10 and also TOA because he's a great reviver.
Great for PvP too.
Mm-hmm. And for PvP. Yeah, he was actually on my top tier PvP monsters too. So Brienne is great. Definitely top tier for PvE as well. And Cheatsoon, also top tier for PvE. And then for Borderline, we've got Wind Brownie and Julian.
I think we're still forgetting another monster here.
Really?
Yeah.
Another wind monster.
Yes. Wind Lich.
Oh, God.
Has to be better than Water Lich. I mean, he's actually not bad.
He's not bad.
He's not bad. I see him, see really good ones on PvP. And I'm just, screwing around here. I just really don't like the Liches at all.
The Liches suck.
Yeah. But Wind Lich is probably the best out of the three.
Yeah.
So.
I think the peak of Lich was when Blizzard released Wrath of the Lich King. Ever since then, Liches have just gone downhill from there, especially with Summoners War coming out and trashing all the Liches. Liches in video games have been on a downward spiral lately. But that's it for the top tier PvE mods, guys. Thanks for listening, and I'm going to close out with Sky.
Peace, guys. Enjoy the video. We didn't cover Light and Dark, but that's okay. Not many people are going to get 4-star mods from Light and Dark anyway.
GG.
Peace.